The 30-year yield just touched 5.07%. That's pre-2008 territory. A well-bid auction pulled it back from the edge. The full read is next, and we're closing out today on SignalFinder Pro's top-ranked ETF and stock. Stay with it. SPX closed above the 7,400 weekly pivot, and the Nasdaq was up over 1.5%. VIX dropped sharply after getting turned away at a major moving average. That's the volatility pressure releasing. The system clocked $5.4 billion flowing into semiconductor ETFs in a single session, which is a significant institutional signal. The wild card. SPX has been posting lower highs since its June 2nd peak, and large speculators are still net short on CFTC data. The price action and the short positioning don't line up. DXY is parked right at the 100 weekly pivot, held in place by safe haven flows, even as oil pulls back. Today's well-bid 30-year auction eased the 10-year back to 4.54%, removing the near-term rate shock scenario. Here's the structural flag the backend's been running. U.S. net interest expense is now at 20% of total tax revenues, highest since the 90s, and projected to climb. That's the weight sitting behind TLT. Energy's weekly leadership is coming apart as the Iran risk premium liquidates. WTI is stalling just below its 200 moving average resistance. XLE had been out front for most of the week, and that's unwinding fast. The backend's reading this as mixed. Energy costs are still elevated enough to stay on the Fed's radar, but the supply shock narrative lost its catalyst the moment geopolitical pressure eased. Gold is holding near 4,100, with central bank buying as structural support. That's the fundamental case. The technical read is split. One part of the analysis flags a developing negative trend in the chart, while another reads the current pullback as a pause in a longer secular bull. The chart and the macro story don't line up here, and GLD stays in mixed territory until price breaks the standoff. EFA and EEM are both holding technical buy signals, and the system flagged a clear catalyst. SK Hynix debuted on Nasdaq with a 13% session, the kind of move that pulls fresh institutional flows into the broader semiconductor region. EWT, Taiwan's ETF, caught that bid directly. The yen's still structurally weak, keeping Japan's export story elevated. The international read is one of the cleaner signals in today's backend output. Bitcoin's pressing right into a declining trend line at 64,000. That's exactly where the 50-period moving average sits overhead as resistance. It's a counter-trend bounce after a 30% plus drop from the May peak, and Ethereum's approaching a key double-bottom neckline as well. The critical read from the scan? There's no capitulation signal, no liquidation volume spike like the last major bottom. The system isn't treating this as a structural low yet. The system just ran its best-of-best filter across the full universe. 103 symbols made today's shortlist. 3 sectors are sitting at the top of the rank table: industrials, technology, and real estate. In that order. The filter's done its job narrowing down the field, and the top-ranked ETF and stock are up next. Here's the sector ranking board from SignalFinder Pro. Industrials are holding the #1 slot with technology right behind, both in leading state. Real estate is third on the board, up about 0.5% on the session. Domestically oriented sectors sitting at the top of the table is consistent with where the system's highest conviction setups are clustering right now. Taiwan ETF, EWT, is the top-ranked ETF in today's best-of-best filter. It posted a session gain of over 1%. The catalyst the system's tracking ties directly back to the international read. SK Hynix's 13% Nasdaq debut pulled fresh institutional flows into the broader semiconductor region, and EWT caught that bid. The chart and the full infographic are on screen right now. Interactive Brokers, IBKR, is the system's #1 ranked stock today. It pulled back over 1% on the session, but the structural ranking held. That's worth noting. A single session dip doesn't automatically move the rank. The system's evaluating the full setup, not just the daily candle. The chart and the infographic are on screen. The setup's there to read. Quick recap. SPX and QQQ held their weekly pivots, and the 30-year yield touching a pre-2008 high was the system's lead anomaly for the day. The well-bid auction pulled it back. Energy leadership's fading as the Iran premium clears. Crypto's in a counter-trend bounce with no confirmed bottom, and the international semiconductor story is keeping EFA and EEM in buy signal territory. The system's top picks are EWT for the ETF slot and IBKR for the stock. Verify both live in SignalFinder Pro. And remember, this is educational, not financial advice. Do your own homework.